Tonight, we'll be diving out with all of that concern and also look at the opposition, they're coming together, the alignment for 2027 ahead of the matters that continue to be erupting in the course of the nations. On the journey house is Charles Ojukwu, a public affairs analyst, will be connecting with us from United Kingdom to analyze all of this development and, of course, shed light to what possible is the future of the country in respect to all of the recent happenings and events in the nation, and how can Nigeria continue to have a better political discourse. The president said, I'm prioritizing the youth for also to build their economic resilience, as well as the commitment in addressing all of those matters. He was charging them at that inauguration for charting a path of youth engagement in governance and development. According to him, government of the day is all about you. You represent over 60% of our population. You're the heartbeat of a nation. Take this opportunity very seriously. Charles Ojukwu, a public affairs analyst, joins us tonight to review all of those concerns. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Very quickly, the August Ember governance protest, after almost after 10 days, the president had promised of having to discuss with the youth, to have a roundtable with the youth in order to discuss and, of course, understand better their plight. But for many months after, the president has inaugurated that youth confab committee. Do you feel that that will answer the many concerns and the problems raised by young people in the country?
Good evening, viewers. Thank you for having me once again. Going straight to the point, answering the questions of the many problems of the country and the youths in particular. I like to be optimistic, and I believe that if the National Youth Confab follows the normal fair process with sincerity of purpose and action, it would likely address some of the issues affecting the country, most likely the youths. I was listening to the address by the president when he reassured them that whatever the outcome and recommendation from this confab would yield, that he is most likely bound to consider and implement them. Now, that gives you a question about the political will of implementation of conferences, committees, and reports. Recall 14 years ago there was national confab that happened in 2011. Now, up to today, nobody has looked into the recommendations of that 2011 national confab to implement it. So it gives you some level of doubt about the National Youth Confab. Will they implement it really? Because what happens these days is that after each confab, each conference, they will set a committee to review the implementation or review the recommendations again. And at the end of the day, it gets to be forgotten. So it becomes a recurring thing. And the aspect of trying to reignite hope in the youth is a very laudable thing by the president. But now let's look at it. The youth sector in this country has been so fragmented. They've been fragmented in all political divides. The youth do not like themselves simply because they belong to different political parties or they support different candidates. So there's high level of toxic media war and gaslighting amongst the youth because you have a lot of if you criticize my principle, I will come for you. Ethnic coloration, because the president or the person leading is from our side, so you dare not give him feedback, you dare not criticize him. This is youth fighting each other for these old guys that are leading, telling them that youth are the future of tomorrow. Now let's look at, you are the future of tomorrow. Who are actually the youth leaders? The National Youth Policy says 15 to 29 are youths, while the African Charter says 18 to 35 are youths. Now the question is, the people occupying youth offices, different political party national youth leaders, the Minister of Youth, special advisors on youth, and youth engagement and all that, in all the state governments and the federal government, Are they really falling within the catchment provided as above? 15 to 29 or 18 to 35? Are they really within that age? The answer doesn't look to be yes. Even the National Youth Council, the leaders are not within the youth age. So if you truly want to reignite the youth and make them to understand that youth are leaders of tomorrow, you should try to reserve those appointments for those age brackets so that it gives them the semblance of the fact that we are actually leaders of tomorrow and we can sit in the big round table to make decisions that affect our future. When we leave this age group, we move on to the other level. So I am going to be optimistic with the president implementing the outcome. However, how will the selection process of the youth that will participate in the conference going to happen? Because we wouldn't want it to be an extension of APC Party National Youth Conference.
Here now about managing the post subsidy removal era, because the president had hinted that as well.
Sorry, can you come again? I wasn't hearing your audio clearly
The president said that every decision he has taken is all about Nigerian youth and their future. So many have continued to look at some of these policies. Does it look like government is totally sincere about how they are managing the post-subsidy removal?
I'm always very optimistic again with every government policy because I believe even if they are being selfish in terms of political self-aggrandizement, I believe reforms are also tailored to serve the overall interest of the country. So the subsidy policy, everybody has agreed that subsidy should go, but the question is the methodology. Even Peter Obi, one of the leading opposition, say he's going to take off subsidy. Elijah Atiku Abubakar say he's going to take off for subsidy. But they are all, varying based on methodology. Now, what are the methodology? The president removed it from the first day. Subsidy is gone. And that simple utterance, subsidy is gone, skyrocketed everything, caused a lot of economic pressures. Because now, removing subsidy is what is needed. How you remove it is the next question. And I believe that we are beginning to see some changes that is looking towards the good trend, because we cannot sustain subsidy payment that does not benefit the masses, because they say it benefits the subsidy mafia that embezzles the money. So I still believe that the post-subsidy era is having some gains because the money realized from there, I can see what the president is using it to do in terms of free cesarean section for women in labor, giving 700 and something youths employment in all the local governments, and also some of the things that are coming out from it. I don't believe in giving people 50,000 as cash at hand something. I believe in creating policies that are sustainable, and you use it to drive your subsidy removal measures to cure inflation, unemployment, and engage the citizens into getting benefit of the subsidy removal.
Have some numbers of persons more than some certain number of years expected. Just look me in the face and tell me whatever you think is wrong and the way forward. Be frank. We will implement your suggestions so long as they have for the country's prosperity. That's what the president said. Do you feel that we have young people, even in that room, or part of this committee, or the resolution that we may have after the 30 days confab, telling the president the truth as to what needs to be done, and looking at the priority of young people in Nigeria today?
Let me tell you what will happen. It boils down to the composition of the National Youth Confab. If it's a composition of different segments of APC members, APC youths, they cannot look the president in the face and tell him what is wrong. Because we run a governance system where I call it psychophancy group of companies where you have youths organize themselves into a sort of a political sycophant group, sycophanting for the government. They see the real problems, know the real problems, experience and go through these real problems, but they will not tell the leaders the truth. Now, you may be from opposition or apolitical, and you raise up these feedbacks, conversations, and critics to the man in power because they belong to the same political party with the person in power. They will come and start fighting you. That's what we face everywhere, including the states. They wouldn't allow you to give feedback to the person leading because they believe it's our government, that the government does not need to get a feedback that is not sweet, that is not praise singing. Oh, president should even demand and seek and long for feedbacks that does not sound palatable in their ear, because it gives them some moment of reflection in their quiet time on how to make things better. So, look me in the face and tell me what you feel is wrong, and we will do it. Yes, it's possible only if the composition of National Youth Confab cuts across not just APC, all the youths in different political parties. If there is a fair selection process across all the over 700 local governments, across all the political parties, without giving any party favoritism of allocation of numbers of delegates. If you make it not to be an APC National Youth Confab, then every party will coalesce in that room to bring out objective feedbacks to the president. But if it becomes a confab where people will get to be delegates based on who you know, based on party membership, based on our government be this, they're not going to tell the president anything, because most youths, even in the government, they don't like their president to be criticized because he's the president of their party, the president from their party. So it depends on who are those in charge of this National Youth Confab. If they are sincere enough to have members cut across different political parties, different ethnic groups, different civil society groups, different organizations, different foundations, they can be able to, without being attached to any political engagement, they will look the president in the eyes and tell him what is wrong. So it depends on the composition of that confab.
Doctor, let me take you towards what is trending politically. Some actors are now shifting their grounds to other political parties, like that of the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir Rufai, has now left All Progressive Congress. He has cited many instances on the grounds why he's defective from APC to SDP. Do you feel that it's too early for politicians to start moving? Two, is opposition actually getting it right in terms of engaging the government of the day to get the result and for them to live up to expectations?
You shouldn't be surprised, Michael. This is a political window, political exchange window. And you know, it's not too early either, because when they exchange themselves, you have to give a record time, because every political exchange has a record time. And that record time is to allow the media dust to settle. Then the question is, what is the media dust that is going to arise where they are going? For example, most of these opposition parties have not been playing the right opposition, because opposition is actually about engaging the government on their policies, offering alternate policies to address whatever policy, action and inaction of the government, holding them back to back on different alternate policies. Wherever the government gets it right, you give them thumbs up and still maintain that opposition checkmate of the governing party. But our other position is just a position to capture power, to grab power. Yes, getting power is fine, but you have to ordinarily play in the right opposition, holding the government that is incumbent accountable to their manifesto, what they said they're going to do. Crossing to different parties, forming coalition. The question is, when you have strange amorphous bodies coming together, it will not likely coalesce to form something that is very strong and very solid. So what I see are strange amorphous bodies coming together. just to grab power. How much have they engaged this government right from their day one? Now, because 2027 is coming round the corner, they are coming together, strange bedfellows, trying to meet with each other. I don't know what they're going to produce, but as an optimist, I believe they will be able to harness themselves. But I suspect that the problems in Labour Party, that is imploding Labour Party, the problems in PDP that has kept PDP to be an auto antibody to itself, where a party is the enemy of itself by the people leading the party within. How sure are you that the SDP that are crossing will not develop this auto-antibody political attack on itself? So let's watch and see. That's my own take on that. But the point that opposition has not lived up to expectation. You can give it to Peter Obi. He has been, engaging the government recurrently and consistently so far. But it's not just him. There are about
that he may defect to LPC as well. That many political parties are defecting to LPC. That their party is becoming more popular. That even the likes of Peter Obi may also join them in LPC.
I had the special advisor on public policy, Daniel Obwala, saying that their party is more popular and all that. We all know that there is as alleged, that the APC is sponsoring the disintegration of other political parties, and there's an allegation on the media. And some people that are running for governorship in my state have also moved to APC. That does not qualify that Peter Obi will move to APC, because Peter Obi is an opposition. So why will opposition move into your party? What is it meant to achieve? So it's just a bit of a hyperbole and some form of excitement from Daniel Obwala to try to fan his party.
I mean, when we look at the 2027 politics, there are a lot of arguments to all of these issues. When you look at the fact that those that are arguing, can opposition come together? Because the divided opposition, many said, cannot make the opposition stronger. APC today was, the coming together of, a good number of political parties just to be able to grab power from People's Democratic Party. Do you likely see that happening, or a situation where the oppositions will be playing by themselves, all alone? NMPP and the Kwankwaso group on the other end, Peter Obi group on the other end, and all of those opposition all scattering around.
Like I used to say, a divided opposition is easy passageway for President Tinubu to get the second tenure. Opposition cannot achieve anything divided. They have to come together. And now when they come together, the question is, how will they manage their differences? There are people that have disagreed with each other before, called each other names, said all sorts of things. And some of them are aggrieved because they feel left out in the current power equation. So they are coming together to grab power. So opposition are coming together to grab power. The question is, how will they manage their differences? If they are less selfish and think about the country first, I think they will be able to harness their differences, drop their different ambitions, and focus on one person that is going to be the presidential candidate, the second person that will be the vice presidential candidate, and everybody will genuinely and sincerely, in a united opposition force and network and structures, support those two people to become to go for the election. In unity of the opposition, that's the only way they can give President Tinubu a run. But in division of the opposition, they are not going to do anything. They will just spread their votes and scatter their votes.
Many thanks for Sister Willa. Just before I let Dr. Charles to go, I wanted you to react over what is happening in Rivers State. Do you feel that there's a political solution to that, even after the Supreme Court judgment?
For me, I have sentiments about Fubara, but I will drop my sentiments about him and play clearly on objective political angle. What they need in Rivers State is a political solution. It's a political solution of roundtable discussion of sincerity, putting the state forward. And it has to involve give and take. Some people have to relinquish some things, give up some things, and accommodate the other person. So the question is, there has been a lot of bad blood for the past 2 years in the Rivers State government, that the political situation there is very touchy. So for them to have any, progress, they have to sit down on a round table. I wished that letter the governor wrote, it was actually, worded very well, addressed very well, and signed very well, because you cannot write to head of another arm of government without your name there signing it. So if you are writing as a correspondence to the clerk of the house, you can now use the SSG. But if you, the governor, is writing to the head of the legislative arm of government, I think you should put your signature down there. So if those things were done and they had the opportunity to sit down together and harness their differences and find the workable way forward, together with the help of the president that brokered peace with them. So I think they would have found a political solution of give and take, balance their odds out, and find ways to do, because governance has been hampered and has been affected in Rivers State for the past 2 years. So the point is, they need a political solution, because without that, that means they will still continue with courts. And the next angle will be Fubara going towards the ECOWAS court, trying to find a way to, the angle of 5 Supreme Court justices usurping 7 Supreme Court justices. So these conversations would need higher level of adjudication, higher level of court cases, and the rest of that. That will not augur well with the people of Rivers State, because it will continue bringing bad blood in the polity. So the best thing is for them to be less selfish, think about the state more, and sit down at a round table, give up some things, and find a political solution to drive the state forward. The problem in the state has become too recurrent and no longer interesting.
Dr. Charles Kene Ojukwu is a public affairs analyst and a medical practitioner joining us from United Kingdom. Thanks so much, Doctor, for joining us tonight on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.